Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Under the Lights. It's another week with scores and highlights from this Friday and some games that were on Thursday. I don't know if there's any Saturday this week, but we know there were some Thursday games. So here is Russ and George.
Chris, good evening. George, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Couple of surprises that we're tracking down here early in the show. Some big upsets tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's some strange scores, and we're gonna do our best to verify everything. You know, this is one of these things where, the information is just sort of, how can I say? Sometimes loose, so we have to verify things.
Yeah.
We had a game last week, not to mention which game it was, but we had like 5 different scores reported, and it finally took us a while to kind of track down what was the truth.
You know who got it, don't you?
Yeah, I know who got it.
Dr. Dave got
Dr. Dave. Yeah, Dr. Dave and Will. But anyway, an exciting night, kind of interesting. We follow 310 schools, which is a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Normally there's about, somewhere on the order of about 150 games. There's 152 games tonight, and there were 3 played last night, all of them on Friday night. Kind of interesting, we'll throw this in here. There were, going into tonight's action, there were 36 teams that had yet to win a game.
Oh, I thought they were going to say undefeated.
Well, there were 41 undefeated teams and 36 winless. So this is week 5 of our show?
Yeah.
Some of them played 6 games, but this is week 5 of our particular show. Kind of interesting, and
And one of the effects that we're going to have to deal with tonight is week 0. We did not do a show the week 0 because there just weren't enough schools playing, but it shows up tonight because MRA didn't play tonight, JA didn't play tonight. There's a lot of schools that didn't play tonight because they played on that week 0.
Yeah.
So, some of the guys, folks that would be calling normally, won't be calling tonight. But before we get to Dr. Reed Vance, who probably his tires have not hit the road on the way home, and we'll talk about that in a moment. I know you got some scores to lead off with.
I do have some scores to lead off with. Let's see. Calhoun City defeated East Webster 20-7. Columbia remains undefeated, winning over North Pike tonight by the score of 39-21. Jackson Prep beat Evangelical Christian School from Cordova, Tennessee. Say that about 4 times in a row.
What, Cordova?
Yeah.
or Evangelical?
No, the whole thing. It was 49-7. Prep prevailed at home. Greene County defeated Perry Central 42-14. The report I have is that Brandon defeated Gulfport 35-20 tonight. Petal, we understand, won, beating Long Beach 42-14. Sebastopol defeated Leake County 35-6. Houston defeated New Hope 34-7. Pass Christian beat Northeast Jones 41-3. The report I have, and yet to verify this, but Ocean Springs beat Picayune 31-21. Pisgah over Richland, that's a real Rankin County matchup there. 39-6 was the final there. South Panola defeated Clinton 26-11. That's the era's 5th loss. They're 0-5. They're having a kind of a Pearl year, like year Pearl had last year.
Yeah.
Lawrence County beat Tylertown 42-18. Union beat Lake 27-22. Here's the game that you're looking for. Warren Central defeated Madison Central 24-21. It was tied up 21 in the second half for the longest time, and Warren Central kicked a field goal with a couple of minutes left to take the winning margin. George County over Wayne County 14-13. West Jones shut out Poplarville 35-0. Baldwin over West Lowndes 35-6. And won Winona over Winona over Senatobia 44-14. Here's one I was trying to track. Tupelo apparently lost tonight They were playing Houston, Tennessee. Now, I don't have any idea how big Houston, Tennessee is.
Oh,
but they apparently defeated Tupelo tonight 38-33.
He said that he's got the OC Picayune score too. Okay, so Dave, send that one.
Yeah.
Dr. Dave working pretty hard up in that bunker up in North Carolina.
That bunker. I always imagine Dave way back deep in the bunker in a cave. It's about 45 degrees. He's got those computers, those old reel-to-reel. Just lights blinking, flashing, But boy, he can come up with the stuff. I have no idea what kind of internet he's got, but I mean, it's fast.
Well, it's probably got a Cat 5 into the cave.
Probably
he's got everything going. But
anyway,
I tell you, Isabella's going to be happy tonight too. Over that Warren Central win.
Yes, and not only is she happy, but Dr. Reed Vance is happy.
Well, let's go to the phones and see just how happy Dr. Reed is.
Here he is.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. I'm always happy. That's just my personality, right?
Yes, I know. The eternal prankster, jokester. Yeah. Okay. Hey, look, this will rank as one of the bigger wins in that Viking history in the last 3 to 5 years, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, this was a 24-21 Viking win. And I think the two takeaways from this tonight are this Vikings defense is for real. They picked off 4 passes, 2 returned for touchdowns. The first 2, Julian Dimby, 23 yards. Gavin Davenport, 75 yards. At the end of one, it was 14-0 Warren Central. And they really haven't done much offensively. Those were 2 defensive touchdowns. Madison Central scored a couple of touchdowns in the second quarter. They've got a very good running game. They got an excellent running back in Glenn Singleton. He scored. Delaney caught a touchdown pass. It was tied at 14 at the half. And then Madison Central took the lead midway through the third quarter. Nice job by their backup quarterback, Jaden Johnson, on a 32-yard touchdown run. Made it 21-14 Madison Central. But then Zach Evans, who had quite a night, he caught several passes, including 2 on an 80-yard drive, capped off by the touchdown pass, 22-yard touchdown pass. He really stepped forward as a shining star tonight. The passing game was the other story for Warren Central. They finally got it going tonight between Nash Morgan and Zach Evans. And then, went to the fourth quarter, and it was Jonah Ardman, 27-yarder late. That was the difference maker in the game. But the takeaway for me is passing game got going for Warren Central. Its defense continues to play well. 4 picks. Garrett Orgus had 2. It was a really, really entertaining football game.
And didn't it come down to like the last minute?
It did. Warren Central took the lead with 3:11 to play in the fourth with the field goal. Madison Central got the ball back. They picked up, I think, a first down on a penalty by the Vikings. Vikings had too many penalties tonight. But that Warren Central defense stuffed it. And so they didn't get out of their own territory in the last drive of the game.
Wow, what a huge win. Now, you've been talking about this defense all year, and you've been saying the offense needed to catch up to the defense, and I guess that's what happened tonight.
Yeah, in a large part they did, in really kind of an unexpected way. I thought they'd maybe do it on the ground game, but really, the sophomore quarterback or the freshman quarterback, Nash Morgan, really stepped up tonight. He took several leaps forward tonight. They had a guy named Trey Hall who had a kind of a playmaker last year on this Vikings team. We're kind of looking for a guy this year. Zach Evans is the guy. I mean, he made several outstanding highlight catches into double coverage because this Madison Central is a good football team, especially defensively, and they can run the ball too. And so it was just really entertaining. Other than some of the penalties against Warren Central, they had too many. Other than that, it was a very entertaining, well-played football game.
You mentioned Singleton for Madison Central. It seems to me there was a couple of years ago they had a Singleton as well, and he was really, really good. So we'll have to see what that does. But, when you lost that game early this year, everybody thought, oh, well, this thing's over with. Not so fast, my friend. Okay? I mean, Warren Central's back in it tonight with this.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, now region play hasn't started for anybody, so everybody's still in it.
I'm talking about state.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. Madison Central beat Brandon 40-26 back on the 1st of September. and then Brandon beat Warren Central 20-7 last week, and now Warren Central turns around. This is the year where I think in pretty much every classification it's wide open.
Sounds like it. Well, we've got Jake Wimberly going to tell us a little bit about that Brandon game on deck. Reed, have a great weekend. Thank you for your call. Congratulations. And I know Isabella's happy tonight.
Yes, indeed. Y'all have a great night.
All right.
Thanks,
you.
Reed.
Dr. Reed Vance, who handles the play-by-play for Warren Central. Now let's go to the guy that handles the play-by-play for the Brandon Bulldogs, Jake Wimberly. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Gentlemen, I am doing well. How are you guys?
We're good tonight. And if you're doing well, that means the Bulldogs are doing well.
Yeah, doing well tonight. Brandon gets their third win in a row. A very rugged non-conference schedule comes to a close. Bulldogs win their third straight against a talented Gulfport team. Boy, I tell you what, that team is going to make some noise, I think, with Ocean Springs in Region 4, 7A. And Coach Sam Williams said it earlier this week. He reemphasized it tonight. He said, hey, no disrespect to anybody we played, but Gulfport, most talented team we've played all year, top to bottom, as far as length and athleticism. And you look at what, their first-year head football coach is doing down there. I mean, he's doing a great job with Coach George. We're talking about Blake Pennick down there.
Right.
Came over from Ocean Springs. But, Brandon jumped out on him and hit him in the mouth early. Scored on the first drive, and then, of course, they created a turnover, scored again. And that game was 21-0 before the end of the first quarter. And Gulfport battles back, and they score on a fourth down conversion late in the second quarter, making 21-13. Bulldogs pull out 28-13, and then close it out 35-20. But Russ, like we talked about last week and this week when you and I spoke, this team is growing up right in front of our eyes. They brought up a freshman running back. They typically don't do this. Tyson Robinson. He's a freshman. They feel really, really good about. He's a guy that's going to add some depth in that backfield with Nate Blunt. So they're running it well, blocking it well, and they hit the break, going 3-2 with 2 losses to Picayune and, of course, to Madison Central. And what a kind of a round robin it's been at 7-6A with all these teams, Madison Central and Brandon and Picayune, Ocean Springs, Warren Central. It's been a heck of a run, but a break next week before region play in 2 weeks against Petal on a Thursday night.
Tell me, Jake, on this freshman running back now, is he still eligible to play on that JV team during the week, or when they bump him up to varsity, that's where he's got to be?
Officially don't hold me to this, but my understanding is once he's there, he's there. So, Brandon lost a key running back last week against Warren Central for the year, and they feel real good about young Tyson. You've heard a lot about this kid. And, we always hear at our local schools about the underclassmen, and I try to pump the brakes on, some of the hype on a lot of these guys. But Coach Williams told me himself today that this is a special kid. They expect a lot out of him. Running backs coach Nate McLaurin said he's the fastest kid on the team. He's just got to get some reps. And, boy, you can see the athleticism with him. But to answer your question, Russ, I think he is now he's been baptized in the high school football ranks and can never return to the JV.
Well, and to your point on Gulfport, Jake, this is a team that didn't just, get real good this year. It's been coming. They had a good, solid season last year. But when we talk with Jeff Hager, he's in the 11 o'clock hour every week on Friday Night on the Lights. He just sings the praises of what's going on at Gulfport.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, Russ, me and Purvey and Chris Siebel were talking about it. Look, they're going to be a player in 7A this year, and that's not a place you want to go in November. So, you want to stay out of that third and fourth spot in the playoff second order, in your region, because then you got to get on a bus and go down there. And that team is going to be a handful, come November for sure.
Jake, we appreciate the call. Congratulations on the win, and enjoy your week off next week.
Thanks, Russ. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. All right. Going to be taking a time out now, and I got more calls coming. And support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from the Office of Mississippi State Treasurer. The Unclaimed Property Division has a searchable database of cash and stocks waiting for the rightful owner to claim. Access the database is from the treasury.ms.gov. We're going to take a time out and be back with more Friday Night Under the Lights in a moment.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
I'll be right over. Oh, how'd you get your house fixed so fast? One call to EC Malone. If you don't know Malone, you don't know roofing. But what about insurance? They work with my insurance company so I don't have to. My repairs can begin without delay. Amazing. I'll call EC Malone Roofing right away. Thanks, Malone.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Welcome back. Support from Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. Phones and plans and coverage information can be found on their website at cricketwireless.com. Glad to have everyone back in on the second segment of tonight's show. And I think you've got some scores that we haven't got that are coming in.
Yes, we do. Hattiesburg defeated Sumrall 42-14. It was Stone defeating Quitman 21-14. Starkville big over Oxford 33-13. Bruce defeated Nanawaya by the score of 37-34. Boonville over North Pontotoc 42-15. Hancock over Van Cleve 35-14. And Macomb shut out South Pike 49-0.
You don't have a prep score in there.
Jackson Prep?
Yeah.
I mentioned it a minute ago.
Oh, you have? Okay, well.
Yeah, I'll say it again. They defeated Evangelical Christian from Cordova, Tennessee by the score of 49-7.
Okay.
And there was a running clock in the second half.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's the fastest half of football I've ever seen.
Well, when I pulled up at 5 after 9, you've been in the parking lot for 30 minutes, so it went by quick.
That's fast.
Yeah,
and it was homecoming. Quick. What is it with a lot of these schools? George, back when I played, I mean, we didn't have homecoming until October.
Middle October.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, my wife said the same thing. I said it was homecoming, the night over at Clinton. She said, why are they doing it so early? But I mean, a lot of schools do that now.
Well, they're getting better weather for one thing.
Well, maybe, but it doesn't ever rain here anymore anyway. So I don't know if it makes any difference.
I saw a cloud the other day, though. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. And I will say 95 is better than 106.
Oh, but it's amazing how much
breather, at 95.
Oh, my goodness. Also, want to remind you that Cricket Wireless will be handling Noah Crow's Crazy 8 report tonight, which will come from Sharkey Issaquena, way up in the Delta. And they're crazy about their football up there, and they've got an 8-man program that's pretty good. Chris? I guess I might. Oh, okay. So we got this segment. Greg Flynn's supposed to call in from Pearl. Ray Coleman supposed to call in from Clinton. Might not do that. I want to get Ray's take on this.
Yeah.
I know that Clinton is pretty banged up.
Well, let me give you some other scores.
Yeah, do that.
Thursday night game. These are Thursday night games. There were only 3. Bay Springs defeated Choctaw Central 50-20. Oak Grove remains undefeated. Now, they had that really close game last week against MRA, but they won Thursday night over Laurel 52-14. And Meridian came to Jackson to play Callaway, and Meridian prevailed by the score of 32-6. Another one I had that was a really good game, Holmes County Central defeated Florence tonight 42-40. Florence has only lost one game, and Holmes County Central has not lost, so that was a good game.
And
there.
I think we're going to get a report from Matt Timms on that ball game.
Okay.
So that was a close ball
and
game.
And wherever Granny is tonight, that's always of interest.
Yeah, I think he may have gone over to West Jones tonight. I don't know, but we are chasing Greg Flynn and also Ray Coleman here in this segment. Hey, if you want to give us a call here, we want to talk to you. Maybe we haven't talked to you about your school, or maybe you just want to give a score. Give us a call, 877-MPB-RING, MPB ring, or 877-672-7464. That is 877-672-7464. If you'd like to call in and talk about your team's game tonight. Got a lot of homecomings going on. Didn't you say that? No, that wasn't a homecoming down at Warren Central, but Clinton had a homecoming tonight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people had them tonight, so that may be why we're a little.
And
late
you said Prep had a homecoming.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I may be why we're a little late getting some of the scores. A lot of everybody's starting back at 7:00 now, and those homecoming halftimes can be long.
They can be.
You remember when they used to put the court in the cars, and they would drive the cars halfway around the track?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. The
take-
tracks got too nice.
Oh,
They don't want
that's
those
true.
they don't want those cars on those nice
They're
tracks.
no longer the cinder, the crushed brick. There's actually really a track.
It's like you're running on asphalt. So those are gone, and so they said the cars have got to go on top of that.
Yeah.
So
By the way, you showed me a picture a minute ago that Dave sent you a picture of his bunker, which was totally bogus. That was not the bunker that he's in. But he was just doing that to throw everybody off. Keep his cover.
If you've seen the movie Frankenstein from the 30s and the 40s,
that was it.
That was his. That's his bunker. A lot of that equipment is in his bunker.
Yeah.
Well, Russ, we've got Greg Flynn on the
There
phone.
we go.
Now we're cooking
now.
with gas. That's right.
Okay, here's Greg.
Gregory.
Well, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Oh, we're just doing dandy up here in Germantown.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, Pearl. Well, let's put it this way: Clinton's having the season Pearl had last year. So.
Yeah. And we're having. Yeah, God bless Clinton. I saw that score pop up again, and I was just like, been there, done that, had a T-shirt, so we understand.
Had a T-shirt.
What was
it's probably more of a tank top, but yeah.
What was the final of your game tonight, Greg?
Ours turned out to be a walk-away there, 44-28.
Wow.
Pearl once again ran for 241 yards, had 244 last week, and super balanced. 240 yards rushing, and then 220 passing. So very, very balanced. Finished out the non-conference schedule, a perfect 5-0. We have a bye week next week, much like most of the rest of 7A. And then we will play Thursday night, October the 5th, against Northwest Rankin to open up region play.
Now, that's not the Eat Dirt game. That's Brandon, right?
No, this is like the baby Rankin County Super Bowl.
Well, it'll be big. Let me ask you this: this team is a total turnaround from last year. Did these guys just get better? They took their licks last year, or have there been an infusion of some other people?
There has not been really an infusion. This is just growing up, getting bigger, stronger, faster. So for all fan bases out there that have to struggle through when, coaches are playing a lot of freshmen or sophomores out there, just know it is going to pay dividends. And that's exactly what Pearl is seeing now, that all these guys that played as sophomores and juniors and even freshmen last year are just bigger, stronger, faster, and more mature. And this is what you're seeing.
Did you see our friend Jared Schatz up there tonight?
I did. He didn't look too well. He's a little green having to call tonight's game.
Yeah.
But Jared, they were gracious hosts. And if you ever have to broadcast here at Germantown, if you're the visitor, you have to go up on the roof.
Yeah.
Of the press box, and I could see Pearl from here. So it was a beautiful night. I saw the clock tower at City Hall at Pearl from Germantown.
It's pretty high up there. I can guarantee you that. I remember that the visiting crews did it to go through that hole in the roof and go up there and call the games. But what a beautiful night for football.
It was, and it got very breezy when you're that high up in the air. It was very breezy, so we didn't have a problem with the sweat at all.
Well, that's great. Well, congratulations on the win. Total turnaround for the Pirates. I know that you'll enjoy your weekend off next weekend, and then you get into that conference play, and boy, you start out with a bang with Northwest Rankin in 2 weeks. So enjoy your week next week.
Well, 7A is no joke now. I mean, when they dropped out Warren Central and Terry from our region, when you got to play Oak Grove, Petal, Brandon, Northwest Rankin, and Meridian, that's a pretty tough hole. Used to be you had like one or two maybe unique games sometimes you look at. Man, every single one of these is going to be a battle each and every night. And it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Greg, we appreciate the call, my friend. Have a great weekend.
All right, MIZ.
Tell you what.
So we've got
you, baby.
So we've got several callers here. So I think what we'll do is have a minute with Isabella, and then we'll go to Ray Coleman after the break.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Isabella, good evening, girl. How are you?
Good. Oh, I'm doing great. My Vikings won tonight. And I was going to tell you, Florence also lost last week to Mendenhall in double overtime. It was like 41-42.
So that's two losses, Florence said. Yeah, so that's two that they've had. Yeah. That was a real upset tonight, I think, over there. But boy, what a game for Warren Central. Because I'm going to tell you, Isabella, if you talk to 10 people before the game, 7 of them probably would have told you if Madison Central was going to win that game.
Yeah, Madison Central has owned us since they joined, they came to school in 92, and ironically, their first game ever was against Warren Central in the Red Carpet Bowl Classic.
I remember that.
And then in 95, we got placed in the region together, and they had, you'll remember this name, Anthony Ephraim.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he torched us for about 3 years there, and they own us like 12 wins against 6 or 7 losses and everything. So they're the thorn in our side. But I'm glad they're back on the schedule because they're a good quality team.
Absolutely. And that was a quality win for Warren Central tonight. I understand we're going to see you next week.
You sure are. I've got pecan pies. I got the stuff with pecan pies all ready to go. And then, Warren Central has ran the gauntlet. I say, and I don't want to, try to overplay them or anything, but we've played all 7-8.
Yep.
All out of the conference. So, well, anyway, I hear the music, so I will let you go and continue listening to the show, and we will see y'all Friday.
Thank you, Isabella. Sounds great.
All righty.
Bring the pie and the ice cream.
We'll have to get Liz to get the ice cream. All right, he's going to wrap up this segment, and we will take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll go back to the phones with Ray Coleman and find out what's going on in Clinton. Friday Night Under the Lights continues.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs? Yes.
Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
Can't process your insurance claim until your request is finished with underwriting. We need more details of all damages to process your insurance claim. Only be sent once we finish processing your insurance claim.
It's going to be a little while before you get that
your
second
roof is
claim.
leaking. That doesn't help us process your request.
Next season, boys.
We work directly with your insurance provider so you don't have to. That means we can get to work without delay. If you don't know Malone, you don't know roofing.
1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search, you'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G boss mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Men are struggling a bit. They don't have any quarterbacks on the roster right now that are healthy. They're starting a wide receiver, emergency quarterback. He's their best wide receiver, best corner, and he's having to play quarterback. Well, the problem is you can't throw to your best receiver because you are that person. So it's kind of difficult, man. They had some good things happen tonight. Unfortunately, when they would get in the red zone, they turned it over a couple of times. Had some special teams mishaps in the return game. And when you're down to your 4th string emergency quarterback, you just can't have that. And that's irregardless of who you play. In this case, it being the South FNUTL Tigers, you're just not going to have a recipe for success when that happens.
Well, and Ray, we've talked about this. You can't even turn the football over to a bad team. I mean, you just can't give out the gifts. Now, we all know Judd Boswell. We know what a good coach he is. And he's going to get this thing turned around. But we were talking to Greg Flynn a moment ago. You remember Pearl last year had this kind of year. And look, they're at 5-0 this year, but all their players are in place.
And it just takes time, man. Last week, this guy in Bichon Malone, this young man, went from playing receiver to playing quarterback for the first time since he was in 8th grade on 1 week's practice. So now you give him 2 weeks. Well, he was able to complete a pass of over 50 yards. He was able to get plays that are in his wheelhouse where it's able to, feel more comfortable for him. The hope is that next week when they play Terry to close out, non-regional play, that there is some confidence there in expanding the playbook for this young man where he can now feel more comfortable in the pocket, putting it on the money as they get ready for regional play. Because here's the fact of the matter. None of those quarterbacks are expected to be back for week one when it comes time for those games that count. So you
Right.
have to be able to depend on Vishon. And as I say that, I also say it cannot be one person winning these games. This is truly going to have to be a group effort every single down. I know that's a cliche you hear from coaches. You have to focus on the next play. Well, in this case, it is paramount because you can't afford to play it any other way.
Ray, y'all have an open date next week, right? Correct?
Well, the week after. So
The
we
week
play
after.
Terry
Okay,
next
okay.
week, and then the week after is the bye week, and that's when they go into regional play after.
Okay, okay.
So
So,
who you
how many
playing?
games how many games is on the schedule? Is it 11?
Yeah, so they have one less game because if you remember, Murrah is in our district, but they are playing
Right,
independent this year in
right,
football
okay.
for us.
Okay.
So we're down a team in that space, which makes it even more difficult, guys, because if you look at it in the region that Clinton plays in, you have Tupelo, Starkville, Madison Central, and Germantown. Well, all of those teams are really good this year, man, and so that's not a guarantee. Somebody is going to be on the outside looking in, and all it takes in this case is one win. So that's a positive
Yeah.
if you're looking at it for Clinton that you don't have a win yet. The bad news is after this week versus Terry, you're about to hit a murderer's row in Region 278.
Mm-hmm.
So this Terry game is pretty big for the Arrows if they can get a win.
It's huge. It's huge, man. Not only to get a win, but to get more reps in for
Yeah.
young men
Yeah.
that are just not used to playing. Remember, Jonathan Funches, their best defensive player, went down for the season on the fourth play of the first game of the season. They have a running back that's playing with a broken hand. I just told you their best skill player is having to play quarterback, so you lose him in the wide receiver game and the DB game.
Lost your
The
quarterback
list just
too.
goes on. Yeah, and the list just goes on and on, guys. But here's the thing, and my co-host Todd DeMute said this very thing. Nobody in 7A cares. Everything I just told you, nobody cares. They're going to be ready to punch you in the mouth, and so you have to figure out a way to overcome that adversity, regardless of what your situation is.
Well, you're exactly right, my friend. We got some other calls we got to get to, but Ray, you're doing a great job over there. And by the way, I keep up with you on LinkedIn, and you're doing a really good job for the Veterans Administration. So you keep it up on both ends, and we'll talk to you after the Terry game next week.
I appreciate you guys. Listen, one of these weeks we're going to talk, and I'm going to have a win to talk about. Just bank on that. We'll get there, I promise.
All right, Ray. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
We've got Bob Knight on the phone talking about Ocean Springs and Picayune. Here he is.
Hey, Bob, we were chasing this score all over the place because we didn't know really what the final was. So tell us what the final was.
The final was 31-21.
So what we're getting is correct.
Yes.
Big.
The score was not as close as they were saying. The opening, Picayune got the ball. They hit like a 60-yard touchdown on the first play, and then Ocean Springs got the ball back, went down and scored pretty quickly, and then kicked the ball back off to Picayune, and Ocean Springs got a fumble, and then Picayune, as advertised, they wanted to blitz a lot more, and Ocean Springs motioned out and hit them on a couple of vertical passes and scored again. It was 17-7 right before the half, and then it was, I think Picayune got the ball back, and right before the end of the third quarter, made it 31-14. Ocean Springs tried to, extend the lead a little bit, missed the field goal, and Picayune got the ball back. We were in prevent with 8 minutes left in the game, and they were able to score on prevent.
That is.
So we got the ball back with 5 minutes and made a few first downs and ran the timeout. But I tell you this, and Russ, this is Bob from Mississippi College.
I know.
Bob, all right. I've been out here 17 years. I've never seen a defense shut Picking down like we did.
Wow.
Ever.
That is saying something.
So I'm saying, it really should have been probably about, 31-14.
Mm-hmm.
I give them that. I know they're missing their running back. I hope he gets better. But you know that it's a carousel there.
Yeah.
They're gonna run their little toss sweep. The thing that hurt Ocean Springs the most, they were giving third down. The last time they scored, the one time they scored, they ran a little crisscross, and I say crisscross, they actually tossed the ball, ran it around, and everybody sold on it, so he got it for about 50 yards.
That's
good for 6-8.
Oh yeah. Look, they're going to be around, in November. There's no question. But that was a big win for Ocean Springs tonight. We got to run, Bob. It's good to talk to you, and I hope that now does Ocean Springs off next week?
Yeah, they're all. I think the only one that's playing down here is Biloxi. They're having a little game, but Mobile or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a little bye week, and hopefully they get everybody healed up. I think they start off the recent play with D'Iberville, which would be good.
All right, man. Well, have a great
All
weekend.
right, hey, and I do want to say this. Pearl. I'm from Pearl. Jack Durr, him and Bray Hubbard, same size. Jack Durr is only a 10th grader. He was a starting quarterback as a 9th grader. The dude is a real deal. That is he is the reason. Now, they've got, they got talent. But I'm just telling you, this kid's going to get better and better. Let him get comfortable, and it's going to be, oh, my God. I'm just telling you, I've known him since him and my kid are the same age. I'm like, this dude's good.
He's the real deal. Well, thanks for the tip, Bob. We got to run, get some folks in. Good to hear from you, and we'll talk to you next week, my friend.
All right, thank you.
Ty Boyles.
Ty, I was getting a score from Crystal Springs early, but did you hang on and win that game?
No, we lost 24-14.
All right, what is it? That was in a conference game. Well, who'd you lose to?
We've lost to South Pike, Jefferson County, and Fort Gibson.
And that was Port Gibson that beat you tonight, right?
Yes.
All right, now does Crystal Springs have an off week next week?
No, we start district next week.
See, that's where those 2A, 3A, 4As.
Like in 7A, there's only like 23 or 24 schools playing 7A football.
Right.
And they got they're going to be 16 of those that are going to make the playoffs.
Wow.
Just the way it works. So anyway, but that's the reason why they have a bye week.
All right. Well, I know he wants to say it, so say it and take us to break. All right, Chris. Well, we got some time for some scores, or who do we have?
Well, no, I would. We'll come back with Mike from Haysburg and Joseph Craven and Matt Timms after the break.
All right. Support from Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Malone Roofing. They have roofing, metal walls, and maintenance serving Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida's Panhandle. Commercial and residential roofing information can be found at ecmalone.com. Friday Night Under the Lights will continue in a moment.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs?
Yeah. Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
Pretty good season. Did it continue tonight?
It did continue tonight. We were one of those schools that celebrated homecoming in the middle of September, and one going away tonight by a final score of 42-14. It was 35-0 at halftime. But hey, Summerall played hard, and you got to give Coach Shannon White credit for calling Coach Vance to schedule Hattiesburg. When you went to 7A, you're scrounging around to try to find some more non-region games, and Coach Shannon White called Tony Vance to see if he'd be interested in playing them, and they agreed to play for the next 2 years. So Hattiesburg jumped out quickly, 14-0 after the first quarter, then tacked on 3 more touchdowns in the second quarter, go up 35-0 at halftime. Had a running clock for the second half. In fact, the homecoming ceremony lasted longer than the second half did, and Hattiesburg wins it by a final score of 42-14.
You know, I've known Shannon for a long time. He was a neighbor of mine when I was living in Clinton, and I've watched his coaching career. You know, he's going to do some good things at Summerall, but like you say, Mike, he's just really going out there to find a game tonight.
He did, and I don't know if you know this, Russ, or not, but Shannon White in the 1990s was an assistant coach at Hattiesburg.
That's right. He's had a stellar coaching career. I mean, he's been a lot of places.
He has. He's been a winner everywhere he's went, and they played hard tonight. And they're in a very tough district with Columbia and Poplarville.
Ooh, that Columbia, they just, Coach Bilderback just keeps winning and winning and winning down there. Talk to me about Tony Vance's son at quarterback tonight. What did he do?
Oh, well, we didn't really throw the ball much tonight. He may have had about 80 yards passing, did throw for 1 touchdown, but he had a 75-yard touchdown run, so he did very well running the ball tonight.
Well, I know that Tony has got this team poised for a run. Mike, just very quickly, next week you do play a game. Is that correct?
We do play a game. And interesting side note of that, we go to George County, and next week the quarterback for George County, who left George County and went to Tennessee and came back to George County, Deuce Knight, he will be eligible to play next week.
How about that? Hey, didn't he just commit to Notre Dame or somebody like that?
He did. He committed to Notre Dame next week. So the Tigers will get to see Mr. Knight next week.
Should be interesting. Well, Mike, have a great weekend, my friend. We appreciate it. Congratulations to the Tigers, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All righty.
Joseph Craven.
You know, Joseph, when you sent me that text today to say who you were playing, and, you know, it was Lafayette County, I'm thinking, boy, this thing could be very close. Not close at all. These Hawks are for real.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it, because that's what we were thinking, too, leading into. We were expecting quite a contest, and, I mean, I don't obviously mean any sort of disrespect to Lafayette County when I say that, because they are a very talented team, but Hartfield's defense came out swinging from the get-go, ready for it. And then I know you always like hearing an update about running back, all-purpose, whatever he is, Reed Jaslowski. And he had himself another game tonight, counted for 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, including an 80-yard run, and 1 off of a little swing route that he was able to take in. So, yeah, it was a complete game. It was a complete performance, offense, defense, special teams. I mean, everything was just working. It caught everyone off guard, even the fans, even me.
You know, I've heard all summer that the Hartfield defense would be one of the best in the MAIS, and it's turned out to be that way.
Yes, and that was what, if we learned anything tonight, it was that the defense is as good as we think that they are, because Lafayette County they've got very talented wide receivers, especially. I was talking to the Hartfield coaches during the week, and they said, you know, there were a handful of those guys that they had circled. They're like, we got to keep an eye on them, have to keep an eye on them at all times. So they've got, you know, great players, especially on the edges. And the defense took care of business to the tune of 4 interceptions.
Ooh.
If I remember correctly, two by a player named Kinsey West, who's a junior, one by Brandon Womack, who's a sophomore.
He's very talented. Yeah.
So yeah, this is the defense alone will win a lot of games for Hartfield this year. But when the team is clicking the way they were on offense as well, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Well,
what was the final score, if you don't mind, Joseph?
It was 35-7.
Okay.
We did get to the running clock situation, and Lafayette County added a fourth quarter touchdown to make it 35-7.
Well, I'm assuming we'll probably see you in here studio next week, since we're getting pecan pie and ice cream from Isabella, who's a big Warren Central fan. I'm sure we'll find you hanging around outside, so we'll let you in and you come eat with us.
If only. I'll be in Louisiana next week as the Hawks travel to Oak Forest.
Oh, that's a lovely trip.
Yeah. I don't think you're planning on keeping the studio open that late.
No.
But I appreciate the gesture.
No. Hey, listen, Joseph, thanks for the call. Congrats on the win, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. And, hey, 2 weeks from tonight is when Hawks are back at home welcoming the Patriots at MRA. So that will be quite a contest.
Circle your calendar now. Thanks, my bud.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
All righty.
You know, Russ,
scores. You're going to say our scores here?
Well, I was going to say, just you can comment on this, and maybe we can try to squeeze in a score. But, you know, it kind of is interesting to see, to me, the top level of MAIS, and I'm talking about prep, probably JA, MRA, and Hartfield now, probably those 4.
Right.
How competitive they are when playing these, MHSAA schools. I mean, MRA took Oak Grove to the limit last week, and
overtime.
And I was looking through here, and I can't remember if Lafayette's a 4A or a 5A.
They're 4A.
Okay, but you know, that's a pretty That's a pretty strong win there for Hartfield.
It's a huge win, and I think it's, to your point, there's a lot of equality with those teams that you just mentioned, but we'll find out, I think, about Prep next week when they play West Jones.
Yeah. In So-So.
Yeah.
No. Is that
yes,
right?
it's in So-So.
In So-So.
That's right.
I was wrong looking at the clock. I'm going crazy here. We got another 3 or 4 minutes here, so let's squeeze Matt Timms in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hey, Matt.
Hang on. There you go.
All right. Matt, how are you, bud?
Hey, Brother Russ, how y'all doing?
We good. What's going on up there your way?
Now, listen, let me clarify. I'm covering Home Central Academy Trojans.
Right.
I know Home Central High School's making a big run, but the Academy is making a big run too, and they had another good night tonight, going to 4-2 with a big win over French Camp. I don't know if there's a lot of people talking about French Camp, but boy, I witnessed they got a big offensive line and defensive line, talented receivers, good quarterback, and a real good running back, and they had a 13-0 early lead, and then the Trojans from Central Homes, they came back and scored twice within a couple of minutes with an onside kick recovery, and then it turned into a show. The halftime score was 28-26. The final score ended up being 56-32. So the defense for the Trojans shut out French Camp in the second half until very late, and when they substituted in the last couple of minutes, and they scored late. But John Ward, the quarterback, had roughly, I'm estimating, over 200 yards rushing. He had around 100 yards passing, and then on defense, playing both ways, he had a 67-yard fumble recovery for a TD. And then Eli Kemp, the running back, their number one running back, had a little over 100 yards too. But and that's kind of normal for their offense, but the defense really stepped up and shut down French Camp. And French Camp's got some hosses on the line. They've got 2 or 3 guys that, Russ, they look like to me they're around 300 pounds.
Whoa!
And then they got a really good, strong running back that's about 5'7", but he's probably 190, mostly legs. But their defense just came on and kept hitting them and kept coming on strong. But Coach Womack, he's got the Trojans rolling. They're 4-2, heading just past the midway mark, and they got a big game against Canton Academy at Canton Academy next week.
That will be a big game. Canton Academy's playing some really good football. Matt, we got to run. Thanks so much for the report, my friend. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
Well, why don't you say hello to Kerry Metzler, and then we'll come back to him right after the break.
So it's going to be kind of a double dip for Kerry.
You get 2 carries.
Well, 2 carries better than 1.
There he is.
Hey, big boy.
How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm doing probably better than you are right now.
Yeah, I got home. I don't know if I'm in Picayune or where I'm at after the last 2 days on the road. Man, we'll talk about that when you come back from the break.
Rough night for the Maroon Tide. Very quickly before...
I wouldn't say a rough night. I mean, we still rushed for almost, over 250 yards. We were shut down. We only rushed for 250 yards. But the real story of this game was just a very efficient offense by Ocean Springs. They got a good quarterback. They got a great system. We'll talk about it after the break.
Okay, we'll put you on hold and come back to you. I want to remind everyone that support for Friday Night Under the Lights comes from Cricket Wireless. Phones, plans, and coverage information can be found on their website, cricketwireless.com. We'll take a break. Kerry Metzler for the Maroon Tide on the other side. Stay with us.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Leaky roof? Malone Roofing has you covered long after the storm. Mississippi's roofing experts, setting the industry standards. Family owned for over 50 years. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs?
Yes. Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
When storms strike and wind and hail wreak havoc, Malone Residential Roofing is there through the restoration process all the way to completion. Contact Malone for your free storm inspection and consultation at ecmalone.com.
Back, Russ, with Kerry Metzler on the phone.
All right, Kerry, you lose that game 31-21, but you run the ball for 250 yards?
Yeah, 250 yards tonight. You know, the big story in this game really was the efficiency of Ocean Springs offense. They got a good quarterback. Of course, they lost Hubbard last year, great athlete he was. But the system they run, of course, Blake Tennant got it going. Jake Bramlett was a part of that. He's still there. They run it well. The quarterback played extremely well tonight. He was 17 out of 26, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns for William. Berglund did a good job for them, hit some big plays when they needed to. They just got a really good offense for us. We moved the ball tonight quite well. You know, Darrell Smith, our junior tailback, rushed for 164 yards on 21 totes, and we had some other guys combined for another 108 yards rushing, but story was just efficiency by Ocean Springs. We had a couple turnovers. One of those turnovers cost us a touchdown deep in our own territory, but hey, keep you at Ocean Springs. I'll go back to what my good friend Jake Wimberly said a long time ago tonight. Man, Gulfport and Ocean Springs, those are two quality teams. They got athletes, they got good quarterbacks, they got good teams. Those are two quality football teams right there. You know, you look at all these games that have happened the last couple of weeks, looking great football. You know, the Madison Central spreading around playing people, Brandon going around playing people, Picayune playing, all these 6 and 7A schools playing each other. That's some good football. Now, most everybody get a week off next week as a Marine Tide will, and then you get focused for your region play, and, you know, it'd be interesting to see how the regions play out. But, you know, tip your hat to them. They'd be in the Ocean Springs right now. They got a good team. Look, they're a safety that they gave up, and then a short free kick from being 5-0. And, you know, Madison Central rallied late to beat that ball game early in the year. You look at where they are; they could be 5-0 right now. That's just how good this ball club is. And you know, impressive win over Northwest Rankin. We all know the storyline on that one. They came back and won that ball game. They beat Scotlandville, Louisiana, which is always in the playoffs over there, about 40 points, and you know, beat Natchez. So they're a good ball club. They're well coached. I've said it a few times, but they all very well coached. So nothing to hang our head about. You know, we're Going to be without Chris Davis, Quick Chris as we call him, for about 6 weeks. So broken collarbone last week.
Oh, I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. Could be,
Wow.
we're hoping. We've got a couple of guys banged up, but that's part of football. It's just the way it goes. No excuses. Just got beat tonight, and that happens. But Coach Stockton's got a great staff, great group of kids. They'll rebound. They'll take these extra days off to get some things worked out. And they'll be back and ready to go when they open league play 2 weeks from tonight against Pascagoula on the road at War Memorial Stadium. It'll be a good one down there. Lewis Sims does a great job with that program. But, Coach football's alive and well. There's some good quality teams down here. Hey, I'm going to tip my hat for good friend Neil Waller. We cover those games as well with that that radio coach. Hancock's unbeaten. They've scored a lot of points. They've got a good football team. Really good skilled people, really good linebackers. And just kind of tip my hat to Neil. He's a good friend. We talk weekly on our In the Huddle show on Friday mornings about his ball club, and they're off to a great start. So there's some quality teams down here in South Mississippi. There's quality teams all over the state, particularly down here on the coast this year. There are a lot of football teams that are playing good football through 5 weeks.
Well, Kerry, we appreciate that report, my friend. We got a lot of folks on the phone, and I know you're going to enjoy that next weekend. You're going to enjoy.
Going to go see old Brookie. Haven't seen her in a long time. Going to go out to Austin and see the baby girl. She's not a baby anymore, but we look forward to making that trip next week.
Well, good. Well, the best to you. Be careful out there on the road. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Love you guys. Y'all take care.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
And here is Harold.
Harold, do we have a pedal score? I don't think we have a pedal.
Yeah, we had one. I don't have it in front of me.
But I'll give it to you.
Give it to us,
Pella
Harold.
High School wins the ball game 42-14
Yeah, that's right.
Over
Long Beach.
Yeah, and Kerry was just talking, and I agree. We talk with Jeff Hager a lot in the 11 o'clock hour, and there's some good football on the coast, and this year it's pretty balanced. That's a good win for you guys tonight.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Going into region play in 2 weeks, as we go to a town, Hooley and Brandon. We open up with the Bulldogs.
Oh, man. Wow. Okay. Talk about it.
Jake Wimley, I'm telling you, it's going to be a good show on those ones. And I'm thinking that's on a Thursday night.
Yes.
So but it was a good win for the Petal Panthers tonight to do that. The momentum, they looked fantastic coming out in the first half. It was all Petal in the ball game. It was 42-7 at the half. Then Long Beach scored a touchdown, but it was 42-14 for your final. But guys, that was a lot of turnaround in that ball club tonight. Well-coached ball club, as always. Coach Glenn and them, good staff there. The staff of Petal and Coach with Matt Dillon and all of them, Wendy and Robert Knight and Tyler Markin and all of our staff at Petal. But this was tonight was a very important ball game for us, really, because this gives you the momentum going into conference, to region play in 2 weeks, because you got Brandon opening with Petal, you got Oak Grove going to Meridian. So
those are two
guys,
big ones.
I'm gonna tell you something. If y'all have not seen Oak Grove yet,
saw them last week.
They are awesome.
Saw them last week, Harold, and I was very, very impressed with them. And of course, they're ranked very, very high. Hey, we got to run. We got a lot of folks on the line tonight, Harold. But I'm glad you called that in, and congratulations on those Petal Panthers. And it's a big win for them tonight. We'll talk to you soon, my friend.
We'll talk to you in 2 weeks, guys.
Sounds good, Harold. Thank you.
Cliff Barker to talk about Tri-County.
All right, Cliff, another night at the office for Tri-County's Rebels.
Yeah, I went over to Canton Academy, headed across Madison County, and took care of business against the Panthers.
And this Panther football team is pretty good.
Yeah, they've got 2 losses, but both losses were against big-time programs. They got beat by defending 5A MHSAA champions, Holmes County Central, and then they went over to Georgia and got beat by, not sure the name of the team, but a team on a 54-game win streak. They had blown out 3 teams in the MAIS. Got a big-time running back in Chris Hunter.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys have heard about him before. He was legit. But Tri-County came in ready to take care of business tonight. Actually, the last number I heard was held Hunter to somewhere right around 40 yards rushing, and 37 of that came on 1 carry. He did break 1 big one for a touchdown, their only touchdown. Tri-County kind of turned the tables. You know, last week I talked to you guys up in Winston.
Right.
And Bryce Warner had a big night passing the ball. And Tri-County decided to slow things down and rush the ball tonight, dominated the line of scrimmage, had 330 yards rushing, and put up 7 touchdowns and won the game 43-6. And one of the most impressive stats was, or not really a stat, but just a fact about the game, Tri-County had 9 possessions, had 1 punt, 1 turnover on downs, and 7 touchdowns.
That's a pretty good night. What are the stats on that running back again? How many yards?
For Hunter?
Yeah.
He had somewhere right around 40 yards total. He had a bunch of negative carries, and he had 1 rush for a 37-yard touchdown. So outside of that, basically 3 rushing yards.
Tell you, that's a big win for you guys, Cliff. That is a big win for you
really
guys.
Yeah, it was a big night, and now, you know, all Tri-County has to look forward to now is a first-time ever matchup next week with the Carters from down in Taylorsville. They've got Taylorsville coming to Flora next Friday night for a
wow.
first-ever matchup in the 2 schools. So interesting to see what happens next Friday night. I'll have Josh back with me next Friday night, so you'll be hearing from him after the game. But yeah, he's real excited about that matchup between Taylorsville and Tri-County next Friday.
By the way, do you know what a tartar is or a tartar is?
You can tell me.
That's a Mongolian warrior.
Oh, well, there you go. They'll be coming to Florida to face the Rebels next Friday night, so we'll find out first.
I'll tell you what, they'll be parking all over 49, won't they?
Yeah, well, I called the Holmes. I was on the call for the Holmes East Mississippi game last night, and after seeing Ty Keys, I hope they don't have another Ty Keys they bring to Florida.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was a good one. Hey, Cliff, thanks for staying. I know it's past your bedtime, and I thank you for staying up with us. I'll move you back to the 10 o'clock slot next week.
Oh, we're good, man. I made it just fine. I look forward to talking to you guys in a couple weeks.
Sounds good, Cliff. Thank you.
Jared Schatz to talk to you.
All right, Jared, have you figured out this Germantown offense yet?
You know, guys, it's just a young team. We basically played, Pearl obviously went through these struggles a year ago.
Right.
Let me tell you, that's a fantastic football team. They really have all the weapons around their quarterback and Jack Durr. And I think we're more explosive offensively than we were a year ago in Coach Russ Mitchell's first year. We really leaned on a senior-led defense last year, and we may have overachieved a little bit. But this year we have more pieces on offense. We just have a lot of penalties, turnovers, and a lot of things at inopportune times with a young team where, like Pearl, you have to learn to lose as a team before you can learn to win, and I feel like that's where we're at. And I feel like we're a better team. This may sound crazy. We went 5-7 last year. Like I said, we may have overachieved. But I feel like we may not win as many games this year, but we're even a better team than we were last year. And part of that is we don't have as many games on the schedule with the whole 7A reclassification, and you don't get as many non-district games, obviously. But I feel like Russ Mitchell's really got this thing going in the right direction. We have so many sophomores and juniors that are contributing right now that I feel very good about the future. But I tell you what, Pearl they can score in so many ways. We went up 7-0. We thought we're going to give these guys a fight. I think we made the fighting Greg Flynn's pretty mad. They scored 28 unanswered. And so after they scored 28 unanswered, we made it 28-14, and it was just kind of back and forth in the second half. But I'll tell you what, that's a football team that can score in so many ways. They can score over the top with explosive plays, and they can score methodically. So good luck to District 3 playing those guys.
Well, Jared Schatz, we appreciate it. Good luck with your broadcast of the state championship games right here on MPB this December. Thank you, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Russ. Y'all have a great weekend.
All righty. Wow. Pearl must be the real deal.
Yeah,
the Fighting Flynn's?
The Fighting Flynn's. That's good. They're really good. But it is a remarkable turnaround for them. It really is.
You know, you have that year, and you got to put it together. We'll be back.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.
Leaky roof? Malone Roofing has you covered long after the storm. Mississippi's roofing experts, setting the industry standards. Family owned for over 50 years. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com.
Did you know HBCUs are a great place to network? Did you know Cricket has a great network with speedy 5G and is a proud supporter of HBCUs?
Yes. Everybody already knows.
Dante, did you know this is an A and B conversation? So you need to see yourself out. He knows now.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepay college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Welcome back to Friday Night Under the Lights. And Friday Night Under the Lights tonight made possible by State Treasury of Mississippi and College Savings Mississippi, the administrators of the Mississippi Affordable College Savings Plan. Their website is treasury.ms.gov/college savings. All right, Chris, who do we have?
Wayne Flurry on the phone for you, Russ.
A big win for the Tomcats tonight.
Well, it was a good night, Russ. The Tomcats pick up win number 2, back-to-back wins in a homecoming night where they were underdogs, to say the least.
Who was it that they played?
We had to take on Quitman tonight, and of course, for the second game in a row, the Tomcats faced a D1 prospect in number 5 back there, Kylan Deere.
Mm-hmm.
I think every D1 school around that's heard of his name is after him. And I tell you what, the Tomcat defense, I cannot say enough about them. I told you guys back early in the season when the Tomcats lost to Biloxi and then to Poplarville, I said, I really think they're going to be okay. Russ, the defense has come together, and, from what Wes Jones did to Poplarville tonight in Poplarville, I would imagine Coach Beach and company would like to have Coach Aycock back over there in Poplarville.
Well, how did you stop that running back spot? I want to know.
Well, they held him to 42 yards on 18 carries, less than 2.5 yards a touch for that young man. And I tell you what, it was Colton Stringer and Tomcat defense just getting the job done constantly over and over, pounding the line of scrimmage. They really won that battle up front, Russ. 138 yards for Quitman overall tonight in the game. Unofficially, of course, those are my stats.
Well, those are pretty impressive stats, and Tomcats come up with a big win. Now, is this a program that's off next week too, or are you still playing next week?
No, we had our off week last week, if you remember.
That's right. That's right.
Before. And we go on the road next week to St. Stanislaus before welcoming Laurel in the week after to start region play.
Well, it doesn't get any easier. But enjoy the win tonight. They stopped a really good running back tonight, and that defense, you're right, they may have just come into their own. Thank you, Wayne. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend, bud.
Oh, absolutely. You guys too.
All righty.
Talk to Granny.
Granny, where in the world did you wind up tonight?
Well, y'all keep talking about all these homecomings. I hadn't run up on a homecoming all year.
I don't know how.
I don't know either. But I went to Scott Central tonight. They played Forest, and this was a great defensive game. These two teams right here are the two best defensive teams I've seen all year. If the first person that gets to you, he's gonna tackle you. They don't miss tackles. Neither team. This is a good two good defensive teams playing tonight.
And they're like, were they about 8 miles apart from each other?
Yeah, about 8 miles apart. That's right.
All right, so go ahead.
Hey, it was 10-7. 10-7. Forest beat them. Both teams scored a touchdown in the first half, 7-7, and Forest kicked a 32-yard field goal right there before halftime, make it 10-7. And neither team scored in the second half, but Scott Central was driving, and they were on about the 20-yard line with 25 seconds left in the game. They threw the pass, and it was intercepted at the goal line.
Oh, so
I thought they were going to win it. I really thought Scott Central was going to win it, but it was 10-7. Great ball game, Russ.
Boy, I tell you, when you said defensive, you were right. 10-7. Don't see many of those.
I mean, the first person that gets to you is going to tackle you, and I just don't miss tackles. Every coach on both teams must be defensive minded.
And that was Forest winning, right? 10-7.
Yeah, Forest won 10-7.
Okay.
And Scott Central had a shot, and it's picked off at the goal line. That must have been a good one. That's a good ball game.
Great game, man.
Yeah,
great game.
You got treated, and no homecoming. That's good.
No homecoming. Hey, we got one next week in the sticks at West Jones.
They're waiting in the weeds, aren't they, Brian?
Well, hey, West Jones, Jackson Prep. They don't get no better than that.
Wow.
I guess I'll see you next Friday.
Oh, yeah, I will be in the sticks next week. Hey, there's going to be two great crowds there. I know that.
I know. You're exactly right. Thanks, Brian. We appreciate it.
Jeff Hager from the Gulf Coast.
Oh, all right. First of all, Jeff, Ocean Springs is for real, correct?
Apparently so. and we didn't have any doubt about it, but it's just so easy to, count them out because no Bray Hubbard. But even before the season, during the high school football previews that we do, Coach Bramlett was talking about the message he gave the team was, Tennessee winning the national championship the year after they were supposed to with Peyton Manning. So that's kind of been their whole rallying cry this year. And obviously, if you can play with Picayune, you can play with anybody in the state. So big statement win. Picayune scored on its very first play from scrimmage, a 69-yard house call from 3-star running back Darrell Smith. Now, it is worth noting no Chris Davis, the 4-star guy committed to Stanford. He is a fractured collarbone, so he's going to be out probably 4 to 6 weeks. But otherwise, Ocean Springs, very, very tough on defense, and that's saying something because Picayune is equally tough on defense. But, look out.
Talk to me a little bit about this quarterback that took over now that Hubbard's gone, and it looks like he's running his team pretty well.
Yeah, so his name's Will Berglund, and they call him Dabo. I think he's from South Carolina, so there's some kind of Clemson reference there. But so he, it seems like he's settling in, and the passing game is kind of similar, where it's like they're trying to get you horizontal, spread you sideline to sideline, and they're really creative in the way they get the hands in the ball in the hands of Bryson Smith has turned into a big playmaker for them. He was a transfer from Petal, I think, before last season, so now he's a junior. He started on defense for him last year, now really explosive on the offensive side of the ball, and Will Smith is a running back for them that's big time. So, they still have weapons. Their defense is better. And yeah, the quarterback, I mean, I think week in and week out, he's just getting more comfortable in the pocket, kind of letting it fly. I mean, he threw a really, really nice ball over the top to the pylon for a touchdown tonight in the first quarter. So, yeah, I mean, if he can, connect on these passes consistently, and then he also ran a quarterback draw right up the middle, so he's got kind of the blend of, the speed in the arm, and of course, again, no one's Bray Hubbard, but, he is very, very capable back there under center.
You think Picayune's going to be around at the end?
I think Picayune's going to be around at the end, and if nothing else, I mean, they're I mean, remember 2 years ago, I mean, they lost to D'Iberville in the regular season when they had that 35-member senior class, so it's not like they can't lose, but they've just been so good that we get accustomed to the fact that they don't. So, once they get into 6A play, I think Hancock, Pascagoula, George County, they'll make it interesting. It would not shock me to see Picayune run the table yet again in that region. And, once they get to the playoffs, it seems like they get tougher. And, it seems like they almost like playing from behind. I mean, they keep coming back, and they just, I guess, dug too big of a hole in this one. But they got a lot of toughness and grit. And, until proven otherwise, I'm going to roll with Picayune.
You mentioned Hancock there. Aren't they having a pretty good season, too?
So we have 2 undefeated teams left on the coast, and, I guess strength of schedule can play into this sometimes. But Hancock has impressively won every game by at least 3 touchdowns. They are 5-0, and Harrison Central also 4-0 with a win over Mendenhall tonight. So something to keep your eye on, because Hancock, I mean, Dylan Moran, he was actually our student athlete of the week this week at quarterback, and he has put in a lot of work kind of when no one's watching in the offseason, working with his cousin Wyatt Davis, who's a private quarterback coach who works with a lot of top-notch guys across the state. But you can really see just the leap from junior to senior year, and kind of as he goes, they go, and they got a ton of weapons. They're pretty solid on defense. So, they're going to be fun to watch. Their motto this year is standard over feelings, and they're playing like it.
Jeff, we got to run. Thanks so much for the report. A lot of good stuff happening down on the coast, and we look forward to talking to you each and every week here on Friday Night Under the Lights.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me.
All righty. Jeff Hager from the coast.
James Murphy.
Hey, James. How you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How about you guys?
Pretty good. Did you go to one particular game, or were you at the office?
I was at the office, but I did get to keep tabs of a very interesting one up in Germantown, Tennessee. The Tupelo went up there to face Houston High School and lost for the first time this season, 38-33. Guys, this was about as back and forth a game as I've seen since coming down here. I believe it looked like there were, I believe the teams combined for about somewhere in the ballpark of about 13, 14 points each in the final 5 minutes and 18 seconds. It was one of those things where whoever had the ball last, and tonight it was Houston, and they made a few more plays on offense and handed Tupelo its first loss of the season.
What size school is Houston, Tennessee? I'm just not familiar with that school.
If I'm double checking right now, so they're 6A Region 8, so I believe they're in the large class in the state, but I'm not very well versed with classifications up there.
Okay, I got you.
Well, they must have done a good job defensively on Tupelo, because no one has been able to stop Tupelo yet.
They did, but a lot of it was just they had some playmakers on offense. They had a running back, Damon Sissa, who had about 20 carries, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was just one of those guys when if you thought you tackled him, you didn't. And they had a quarterback, Chandler Day, who's 9 for 20, 203 yards and 3 touchdowns, including the game winner. He just made all the big passes when he needed to. Those 2 alone, I think, were 2 of the better playmakers Tupelo's seen. Not just this year, but I think over the past 2 years. They were so dominant all year ago. And they just ran into some tough playmakers. And, again, they did well, but it was a hard-fought game.
Anything else interesting up there in the north?
Actually, yes. We had Biggersville knocked off by Nettleton 32-21. Biggersville was our one small school heading into this week. Let's see. Saltillo got their first win of the year. They beat Shannon 36-14. Fun fact, that's Saltillo's first win over Shannon since, I believe, 1987.
Wow! That's huge.
They're partying like it's 1987.
Oh.
Moorville beat Montauk 42-15. We've got a couple of other ones. Moorville's undefeated season is still going. They beat Manhattan, I believe, 42-0. And Calhoun City got a big win over East Webster, 20-17.
Thanks, James. We've got to run. Have a great weekend, my friend. Friday night Under the Lights will continue in a moment with Crazy Eights, made possible by Cricket.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Mississippi football families, have you thought about how you're going to tackle student loan debt? Don't do it on your own. Pass the ball to State Treasurer David McRae and his College Savings Mississippi team today. With College Savings Mississippi, you can lock in today's tuition rate, prepaid college, and avoid student loan debt altogether. Don't let your finances get sacked because you didn't invest in your child's education. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more today.
Anytime, any store. Malone Roofing has you covered. Number 1 in roof replacements, roof repairs, and sheet metal fabrication. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com. Family owned for over 50 years.
1 in 10 Mississippians has unclaimed money awaiting claim at the state treasury. There's literally hundreds of millions of dollars waiting to be united with the rightful owner. At www.treasury.ms.gov to search. You'll see your name and stake your claim by following these instructions. You'll be asked for some basic ID like a copy of your license or a government-issued ID, then hit send. Treasurer David McRae has a dedicated unclaimed money team awaiting your claim, ready to return your money. Don't wait. Look for your name and stake your claim today. www.treasury.ms.gov.
We're back with Friday Night Under the Lights. It's the 11:30 hour. As soon as we talk to our first caller here, Brennan Barrow, we'll go to Noah Crow with Crazy Eight. So here's Brennan to talk about Mantachi and Moorville.
Hey, Brennan, I'm glad you called because there's been a lot said about this Moorville football team. And now, are they undefeated? You with me?
Yeah, 5-0. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They were 5-0, and they're probably, wouldn't you say, they're probably one of the best in their division?
I mean, I have to look at their division, but I mean, I think the big thing is just how big of a leap it was. Just going from winless last year to 5-0 this year. I mean, that's regardless of who you play. I mean, that's.
How did this happen? How did they go 0-5 to 5-0?
I think, the big thing is Wyatt McDaniels, their freshman quarterback, has just been, tonight I think he had, off the top of my head, 3 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing touchdown. He's got a good arm. He can move. He can make plays. And he's really just made the most of that offense. And then they got, they kind of recruited Mason Gillentine into playing football this year, and he's been killing it as a running back. So, yeah, it's been, they keep the good times rolling down there. So.
Yeah, it sounds like a balanced attack. So are they off next week? But they probably playing, aren't they?
Yeah. Let me see. They've got Smithville next.
Smithville, that'll be a good ball game, good rivalry, and we'll see what happens on that one. Brennan, thanks for staying up with us tonight, and we really appreciate it. We'll look forward to hearing from you next week.
Great. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, it's Cricket Wireless Crazy Eights, and that means Noah Crow. Good evening, sir. You with me?
I am.
All right. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good.
How-
The game was good.
The game was good. Was the crowd good?
There was well over 200 people there.
Okay, good. Well, that's a lot for an 8-man game. Tell the folks, you were at Sharkey Esquina tonight, right?
I was at Sharkey and Aquina versus Briarfield Academy, where Sharkey and Aquina winning 64-46. A hard-fought game at the line of scrimmage. Both teams are running the football, and I mean running the football.
And they still scored 64 points running the ball.
They did. It helps with their defense. In the first half, it was a back-and-forth contest with both teams scoring every other drive.
Wow.
Then in the end of half, Sharky's Queen got a big interception to close the half. Then Sharky's Queen got the ball back to start the second half. Then after they scored to get up by 2, they got another interception to get up by 14.
And the rest
Help
was
close
history.
out.
Yep. Wow. Wow. Did Cricket have fun tonight?
They were not able to attend tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. So you talked to some people. Now you're gonna run that for us, and then are you gonna come back on the other side with scores? Let's get the scores now before we run the interviews. Okay. Take us around the 8-man schedule, and who beat who tonight.
Calhoun won in a barn burner, 48-46 over Newton Academy. Kemper Academy beat Prentice. Prentice beat Newton Academy 44-6. Lee Academy beat Hebron 52-24. West Memphis Christian School beat Marvel 44-6. Claiborne beat Union 36-8. Riverdale beat River Oak School 50-18. Tallulah beat Prairie View Academy 48-42. Franklin beat Wilkerson County Christian School 46-14. Porter's Chapel Academy beat Kennesaw 58-6. Tunica Academy beat Delta Academy 56-12. DeSoto beat Deer Creek. Deer Creek beat DeSoto 30-20. Park Place beat Humphreys Academy 29-21. Benford Christian beat Hillcrest 56-22. In our game of the week, Sharkey Issaquena beat Briarfield Academy to go 6-0, 64-46.
That is a huge win, and I think you talked with some people, correct?
I talked to the coach, Matt Holman, the running back, Gary Jackson, who had 5 touchdowns and well over 200 yards, and Tom Davis III, who had a crucial interception in the third.
All right, well, let's roll those interviews.
I'm here at Sharkey Issaquena as they beat Briarfield Academy 62-46. Gary Jackson, you had over 200 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns. What do you think about today's performance?
Today's performance, I did better than I did last week, and I had to something to prove. Show the coach that we different from every other team.
What'd you see in the second half that the coach told the team for y'all to be able to get back on top and close out this game?
He told us to put everything behind us and keep fighting, keep showing that you're great.
And what do you think about your offensive line today?
Oh, they outstanding.
And for Tom Davis III, you had a crucial interception in the third quarter to help your team get up after y'all scored to get up to another score to get up by 7. What'd you see out there? You get that
Saw a lot of brotherhood. Getting back down.
In the first half, the other team was playing. Y'all were in a back and forth contest with the other team playing very physical. What did your coaches tell you at halftime to be able to get this win?
We're gonna go out here and get the win, and don't let the stuff on the field interfere with what we got the rest of the season.
And congratulations to Gary Jackson for winning our Cricket Wireless Player of the Week, and Tom Davis III for winning our Impact Player of the Week. Matt Homan of Sharkey is a Queen Academy. What did you tell your team at halftime after a back and forth contest in the first half to be able to get that win and pull it out?
I just told them to, just maintain, be disciplined, keep hitting. You're going to have to stop being the nail and be the hammer. That's all we told them. And they came out and we made a few adjustments, and that's what they did.
This game was a very physical game from the line of scrimmage. How did you get your team to not take it overboard and just stay in the game?
Well, like I said, discipline, following your track, being coachable, just keeping that mindset, staying focused. And that's what players have to do when they get tired and they're fatigued in a ball game. We haven't played a whole game this year, so it was a really, really good test of adversity for our kids to pull through. I mean, we're talking about a team that went 1-9 last year, so we've grown up tonight.
And what do you think about Gary Jackson's performance? He had over 200 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns.
He's a phenomenal athlete. He's a great player. He's been a leader all year. He's been our go-to guy. He was injured last year, but he's just a special player. That's all I can say about him.
And what about somebody like Tom Davis III that got that crucial interception in the third quarter?
Another kid that's an amazing player. He's ball smart. He knows the game. He's just very coachable, very likable.
And what do you hope your team takes away from this game into next week?
I hope we grew up tonight, so it's not going to be easy every night.
Crazy 8s is brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Smile, you're on Cricket. Department of Treasury, Unclaimed Money, and Impact Mississippi, along with Malone Roofing. Reporting from Sharkey is a Queen Academy, I'm Noah Crow.
All right, so Noah, you still with me?
I am.
Big game. Big game. Sounded like they were very excited. I like that coach's excitement. So that one's in the book. So where will you go next week?
I will say, if you want to watch the extended video, go on the website. It'll be on there later tonight.
Okay.
With more interviews.
So more an extended video of what happened up at Sharkey Issaquah tonight, and that'll be on Friday night underlights.com. All right, next week's game is what?
Prentice versus Christian Collegiate Academy.
And that will be in Prentice.
It will be in Prentice.
All right. Well, good job on those interviews tonight and also getting all the scores. Dr. Dave will have those scores up on the Crazy 8s, and everybody will get to know exactly who won and who lost. Be careful coming home, my friend, and enjoy your weekend.
You too.
All righty. All right, Chris, what we got?
You.
Me.
That's all I've got.
All right, well then.
Scores.
Scores. That's what we need.
Yeah, let me give you some. It's been a while since we've really given you an update. Starkville defeated Oxford 33-13. Pearl had a big win, beating Germantown by the score of 44-28. It was Macomb shutting out South Pike 49-0. Houston, Tennessee defeated Tupelo 38-33. Stone over Quitman 21-14. Hattiesburg beat Sumrall 42-14. It was Forest defeating Scott Central 10-7. Jefferson Davis County over Raleigh 28-13. Holmes County Central 42, Florence 40. Calhoun City beat East Webster 20-7. Columbia remains undefeated. They defeated North Pike 39-21. And one final get in Greene County over Perry Central 42-14.
Well, support from Friday Night on the Lights comes from Malone Roofing. They have metal walls and maintenance and serving Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, and Florida's Panhandle. Commercial and residential roofing information can be found at ecmalone.com. Friday Night Under the Lights will continue in a moment.
Roof problems? Malone Roofing has you covered. Mississippi's residential and commercial roofing experts. Our work proves it. Call today or visit online at ecmalone.com. Family owned for over 50 years.
See your name and file your claim. Even the smallest counties in Mississippi usually have thousands of people whose names are on the unclaimed money list at the Mississippi State Treasury. That's right. Many counties even have tens of thousands of names listed, totaling tens of millions in unclaimed dollars. Since he's been state treasurer, David McRae has returned a record $80 million to Mississippians who've searched the list, found their names, and staked their claim. About 1 in 10 Mississippians have unclaimed money, and that's why you should check www.treasury.ms.gov or click on Unclaimed Money and search today. If you see your name, file your claim. If it's your money, Treasurer David McRae will get it back to you.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
Hey, gentlemen, we're in the last segment of the last hour. It has gone by fast tonight, but anyway, George, I'm sure you've got more scores, and then we've got Brandon Shields on the phone.
Very good. Okay.
I do. Let's pick up the scores. Greene County over Perry Central, 42-14. Brandon mentioned earlier defeated Gulfport. That was another good win for Brandon, winning 35-20. Sebastopol defeated Leake County 35-6. Petal over Long Beach, 42-14. Pass Christian defeated Northeast Jones, 41-3. One of the bigger games of the night, Ocean Springs. This is a 7A versus a 6A. Ocean Springs defeated Picayune, 31-21. Pisgah over Richland, 39-6. South Panola prevailed over Clinton, 26-11. Kind of an odd score.
Yeah.
Lawrence County 42, Tylertown 18, Union over Lake 27-22. Velma Jackson shut out Leake Central 58-0. Warren Central, one of the bigger games of the night, Warren Central edged Madison Central 24-21, and George County beat Wayne County 14-13.
All right, as we get ready to wrap this night up, Brandon Shields actually covered 2 games, one last night and one tonight. So, Brandon, tell us about last night's ball game first.
Last night, Meridian and Callaway, unfortunately for Callaway, they're battling a lot of injuries, and especially on offense, they're playing guys that are playing guys in spots that they're not used to be playing and wouldn't normally be playing, and it showed. Meridian won 32-6. Daniel Hill, the 4-star running back,
He's playing quarterback for Meridian this year.
Really?
Yeah. Marcus Bowles has him. Hey, put your best player at quarterback.
Yep.
That's what they've done, and they're 2-3 right now. They've been up and down. They're a very young team. Bowles told me they play 4 seniors, 2 seniors on offense and 2 on defense, and it also shows at times. So, but Daniel Hill had 151 yards on 15 carries, had 2 touchdowns. Meridian's defense forced 4 turnovers, something they haven't been doing this year a lot. So that was the difference in that one. And then the game tonight, Brandon and Gulfport, it was all about the fast start for Brandon. Jumped out 21-0 in the first 6.5 minutes of the game. Gulfport fumbled on their first play of the game, and Brandon was able to capitalize off that. And it kind of got interesting there for a second, as Gulfport did cut it to 21-13 right before halftime. And but Brandon was able to come out in the second half, extend the lead, and just kind of hang on. Landon Barnes had 189 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Nate Blunt had 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. They were very balanced. And hey, Brandon, that's that 0-2 start. They've won 3 in a row now, heading into district play. So.
Well, and you knew, Brandon, that Sam Williams, would get that thing turned around over there, and their schedule's just been brutal.
Yeah, Picayune. Yeah, Picayune, Madison. Just the problem with them was just getting off to a good start. First 2 games, they were having slow starts and having to play catch up. Whereas in the last 3 games, they haven't. They've been able to get ahead and stay ahead, and that's really what it's been coming down to. So, but now, like a lot of people, probably a lot of teams in 5, 6, and 7A have bye weeks next week before starting district play. So that's the key right now.
It's going to knock out a lot of games next week, isn't it? The bye week.
Yeah, thankfully.
So you'll still be covered on Thursday and Friday, right?
Oh yeah. I think I'm going to a JUCO game Thursday, and then next Friday I haven't really made my mind up yet. So I know that game you'll probably be calling is a big one.
Yep.
Prepping West Jones, that'll be a big one. So that'll be one to watch. That's for sure.
Have you had a chance to see West Jones this year?
I have not, but I know they're playing really well. They shut out a very good Poplarville team tonight, so that's a statement in itself.
Yep.
Shutting out Poplarville, that's a big win. I mean, Ocean Springs beating Picayune tonight. But another thing about Gulfport, Gulfport's lost 3 in a row now. They've got some injuries too, just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get out of their own way, if that's one way to put it. So.
Well, you can't fumble on the first play of the game.
No, you can't do that. And they did it to themselves. Just some mistakes, and it cost them. So, but they'll be fine. They start district play just like everybody else in 7A in 2 weeks. So
yeah.
They'll be fine come playoff time if they can get healthy.
I think. Brandon, I think that's kind of the battle cry across the state right now. I mean, you just got a lot of kids getting hurt.
Yeah, there's just a lot of kids getting hurt, and the problem is how long the injury is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just another fun night. I can't believe I'm asking this on the radio, but anybody have the H.W. Byers Bluff City, Tennessee score? Because I can't find it. So.
I'll guarantee it. Now Dr. Dave.
Look on the website a little bit later.
Yeah, Dr. Dave will have it. It's H.W. Byers and who?
Bluff City out of Tennessee.
Bluff City. Okay, Dr. Dave, I know you're watching and listening, so we need the HW buyers in Bluff City. And Brandon, we'll probably have that before we get off the air because Dr. Dave finds those scores. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with us tonight, my friend. And we'll look forward to talking to you next Friday. May see you next Friday. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. A lot of slim chickens next week.
Thanks, Brandon. We appreciate it. All righty.
All right.
Anybody else? Does that put a wrap on it? Okay. You know, George, one of the things, and he just touched on it, we got a lot of kids getting hurt. Now, is that because maybe they're out of condition? You know, I know these coaches know better than that. Is it because maybe the football started too soon in August? I mean, you know, you got
I don't know.
Chris Davis over at Picayune. He's
but-
going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a broken collarbone.
Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff happens. I think a lot of it is, to be honest with you, and this is just watching football at the pro level, the college level. People are just bigger now than they used to be. I mean, you know, it's not that unusual. Look at a high school team, and they'll have some people that are 300 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
You never saw anything like that, you know, when we were coming along. Of course,
No.
that was a while back. But
We were wearing leather helmets back then,
I
brother.
think people are. I think they're bigger. I think they're faster. I think in some ways maybe, you know, I don't know. I'm not experienced enough to say otherwise. But I think it's just it may be physics. I mean, it's just some big people hitting one another, and it's going to cause some injuries somewhere along the way.
I was reading, you know, about Roger Staubach, and his career ended when he ran into Marlon McKeever of the Rams.
Yeah.
And he just said, "Guy's 300
But you know,
pounds."
you think about that though. You remember people back in that day, and I remember. I mean, gosh, I remember like on Sunday afternoons. It seemed like the New York Giants played the Washington Redskins every weekend, and the Redskins had Sonny Jurgensen.
Who was
Now look at
300
that
pounds.
guy. Yeah, I know, but look at that guy. He was like 5'11", about 275. And he could throw the ball, but I mean, he couldn't run, you know. But
You were safe not having to play the option against that guy.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, but it's just, people are just different now. I think athletically they're more advanced, but I think they're bigger and faster. And I think the collisions are probably, again, like I say, I mean,
harder.
Hey, look, I mean, you know, Dave doesn't have time to explain this tonight, but I'm sure it's more of a physics calculus type problem.
All right, there you go.
There it is. Oh, H.W. Byers, Brandon, if you can hear this, H.W. Byers defeated Bluff City 27-10. Now, he probably had to contact the CIA to get that number, but he got it.
That's why Dr. Dave is on the staff.
Yes,
and
sir.
You know, he will chase those. I mean, all the scores are going to be on the website.
Right.
So if you missed one tonight and you want to go back and look at it, some of the big upsets tonight, but H.W. Byers was not upset tonight.
No.
So, Brandon, there's your score,
There's your
bud.
score.
Hey, I want to thank everybody.
Can sleep comfortably.
That's right. I want to thank everybody for participating tonight, and thank Liz and Charles here at MPB for running it for us tonight. And gonna be moving on from Jason Klein. He's gonna retire kinda here at MPB, and certainly want to thank. He's been a very integral part of our success here on MPB for Friday Night Under the Lights, and we thank him for that. So that's going to put a wrap on what we're doing tonight. And I hope you enjoyed Friday Night Under the Lights as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We'll be right back here next week. Probably a lot of less games, but we'll be here. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy your football.
CBS.com. Gearing up for the weekend here, folks. We're going to maintain dry weather, at least through the early half of it. Parts of the state dodging some wet weather chances on Sunday. Right now, though, it does not appear it's going to be a complete washout for any plans you have. Clear into below through the night, a low 60s. Sunny through Saturday, the high upper 80s. Mainly isolated showers and a thunderstorm arriving Sunday. In Vicksburg, fair weather for the early morning and sunny through Saturday. Our overnight low upper 60s, Saturday's high low 90s. Pretty quiet around here in Pascagoula. The overnight low upper 60s. We'll see highs this weekend from the upper 80s to near 90 with a good deal of sun. I'm Jennifer Naramore. This is Think Radio.
Hello, Mississippi. Did you know that the average student graduates college with $30,000 worth of debt? That amount of debt can delay major life milestones, including getting married, buying a home, and starting a family. But don't worry, we've got some good news for you tonight. College Savings Mississippi and Treasurer David McRae can help you reduce or eliminate that debt. Their plans are flexible and affordable. Start saving for as little as $25 today. Visit treasury.ms.gov/college savings to learn more.
People who come to Cricket stay with Cricket. Like one of our favorite customers, Michelle.
I started my own app company, and with Cricket, I'm able to answer calls from my engineers and investors and know my signal's going to be great. If I had to describe Cricket in 2 words, they would be reliable and affordable.
5G Boss Mode activate. Smile, you're on Cricket.
When storms rage, Malone responds. From claim to completion, Malone Roofing has helped rebuild communities for nearly 50 years. Contact Malone for 24/7 service at ecmalone.com.
If the money's yours, you should have it. That's why State Treasurer David McRae has returned a record $80 million in unclaimed money to Mississippians. And there's hundreds of millions more, maybe with your name on it. Check the list. Visit www.treasury.ms.gov and see if you have any of the unclaimed money. Each year, banks, utilities, businesses, brokers, and insurance companies turn over millions of dollars to the state because they're not sure who is entitled to the funds. Treasurer McRae has an entire unclaimed money staff waiting to take your claim and return your money. Check the list today. Treasury.ms.gov.